top-secret underground bases that a huge number of experimental rocket ships and circular flying discs were developed. The prototype V7 craft was powered by engines manufactured by BMW. But we have been given patents from leading German manufacturing companies, including Juve, Krups and BMW, which prove beyond all reasonable doubt that Hitler considered the Nazi secret space program a top priority. And more than 15 billion Deutschmarks were spent developing craft of all shapes and sizes.
Are these in fact U.S. prototypes of a captured Nazi H-9 flying wing? In the late 50s, the U.S. Air Force funds the Avro car, a flying saucer that looked like a Nazi secret project called the Repulsi. And in 1965, a UFO crashes in Kecksburg, Pennsylvania. It is reportedly bell-shaped and covered with distinctive markings, just like a radical Nazi device that may have been built at the end of the war. Did the Nazis build successful saucer prototypes? Did the U.S. government and other nations develop them in secret? Are all these sightings human-engineered craft?
Some sharp points of light moving quickly across the sky. A tape called The Story by some.
There's pretty severe energy input here that can drastically alter the fundamental chemical pathways that are occurring in the seed as it develops.
The moment you call them UFO, you are doing exactly what the enemy wants you to do. The moment you call them aliens, you're doing exactly what the enemy wants you to do.
Because it says spirits, will declare themselves to be inhabitants of far distant planets in the galaxy that are coming to warn the inhabitants of planet Earth of the intended destruction of the planet, unless something seriously properly done.
A government official is warning we may be on the verge of intergalactic war, saying, quote, the Bush administration has finally agreed to let the military build a forward base on the moon, which will put them in a better position to keep track of the comings and goings of visitors from space, and to shoot at them if they so decide.
I was introduced to the late Dr. Wernher von Braun, in the U.S., the father of rocketry. In my first meeting with him, during that first 3.5 hours, he said to me, Carol, you will stop the weaponization of space, because there is a lie being told to everyone that the weaponization of space is now first being based upon the evil empire, the Russians. There are many enemies, he said, against whom we're going to build the space-based weapon systems, the first of whom was the Russians, which was existing at that time. Then there would be terrorists. Then there would be third world countries. Now we call them rogue nations or nations of concern. Then there would be asteroids. And then he would repeat to me over and over. And the last card, the last card, the last card would be the extraterrestrial threat. As a military strategist, as a person who worked on the MX missile, which I did later, He said, you will find that there is going to be a spin to find some enemy against whom we have to build space-based weapons, and now we should expect the spin. And that's the formula, except that it's all based on a lie.
A supersonic saucer. Called the Silver Bug, it was truly revolutionary. The plans show in detail a multi-jet engine craft that boasted amazing maneuverability and speed. It's an intriguing thought that this concept may tie in with the work of the German scientists who brought saucer technology to the US at the close of the Second World War.
What was needed were certain cover stories. What do you do when people are spotting aircraft and then telling reporters that they've seen something very unusual flying out of an airbase in Nevada? And frankly, this was the origin of a lot of the sightings that took place in the mid-50s, 1954, 55, 56, of unidentified flying objects, the UFOs. So the CIA was involved in encouraging people to believe that, yes, they saw UFOs, and the CIA and the military tried to be very helpful to reporters to get these stories out, to divert the attention of the country, and particularly the people in this region, about what they had actually seen.
Mexican Air Force pilots capturing on videotape what are said to be 11, count them, 11 UFOs.
The Mexican Air Force has released a video that some of you are going to find difficult to believe. A journalist says it shows images of UFOs tracking a Mexican military plane.
So what's the truth about UFOs? The story of successive attempts to develop radically new forms of flight, conducted under the strictest secrecy, is inextricably bound up with our relationship with UFOs over the last 60 years. Whether it's Allied pilots buzzed by strange balls of fire in 1942, or the Roswell incident 5 years later, there is a strong case to be made that secret military technology offers a convincing explanation for many UFO stories.
Anytime the government has secrets that they can keep from us, they can manipulate us by those secrets. In essence, they still remain 25 years at least ahead of us in technology, information, and knowledge, and secrets, and they are using them against us. I heard over the years many times over that the plan to usher in the New World Order would be to make all the people in this country and around the world feel totally helpless to prevent the New World Order from occurring, this world dominance plan, by saying that we had been invaded by aliens, so that we would say, oh please UN, come in and help us all. So bear in mind that there is a plan, orchestration, to get people to be submissive through a secret technology and information that they're keeping from you under the blanket of a so-called National Security Act.
Universal threat to make us recognize this common bound. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat